Alright, hi guys, we are on the page that says finding angle measures. So we're going to do a review of some basic geometry concepts, talking about angles, complementary angles, supplementary angles, etc. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of the odd problems on this page in the back, and then I want you to practice the evens, and the full notes, or the full completed notes in practice is on my website, so you can check your answers. Alright, so starting with number 1. Now, 112 degrees and x are called vertical angles because they're directly across from each other. So if that's 112 degrees on the top, x is also going to be 112 degrees. Alright, number 3. So hopefully you remember that if it's a straight line, that's going to equal 180. So if I have my left side is 124, in order to find x, I do 180 minus 124. Because remember, a straight line equals 180 degrees. And you can type that in your calculator, and you get x equals 56 degrees. Alright, number 5. So, number 5, remember that box right there means a right angle, which is 90 degrees. And since this is a straight line, that right side is also going to be 90 degrees. So I'm going to do this kind of 3 pieces. You notice you have x, y, and you have z. So if this part is 72 degrees, in order to find z, I know the whole thing right here is going to equal 90. So I can do 90 minus 72, and that will give me z equals 18 degrees, because that's going to add up to 90. Now next, I notice y and 72 are called vertical angles, just like back in number 1, because they're directly across from each other. So that means they're the same measure. So y equals 72 degrees. Alright, and then finally, I have to find x. So y, I'm going to go ahead and label as 72 degrees. And I notice that x and y form a straight line, so that means they equal 180 degrees. So I can do 180 minus 72 to give me what x will be. And that ends up being 108 degrees. So now I found x, y, and z. Alright, next we have number 7. It says A and B are complementary angles. If the measure of A is 42 degrees, find the measure of B. So our key word here is complementary angles. That means they add to 90 degrees. How I remember that is CO, complementary. Oops. I can kind of like drop that down and make it form a 90. So if one of them is 42, to find the other one, I'm just going to do 90 minus 42. And that gives me the angle B equals 48 degrees. Alright, so J and K, now we're on number 9, form a linear pair. If the measure of angle J is 113 degrees, find the measure of K. So a linear pair means that they form a straight line. So that means they're both adjacent and they're supplementary. So supplementary means they form a straight line, so they have to add to 180 degrees. So it says angle J is 113. It doesn't matter in my picture which one I label them, but since it's obtuse, I'm going to label it as the big one. Find the measure of K. So supplementary, SUP, you can kind of think about it as making a 180. So they form a straight line, linear line, 180 minus 113. So angle K equals 67 degrees. Okay. Alright, let's go down to number 11. So line AB, this symbol right here means perpendicular. And you should remember that perpendicular lines are going to form right angles or 90-degree angles. So I'm going to go ahead and draw in my little boxes, which means 90-degree angles. Alright, so it says DCE is 7x plus 2, and ECB is x plus 8. Well, we already said that DCB, so the big angle right here, is going to equal 90. So therefore, if I add these two purple pieces together, it should equal 90. So 7x plus 2 plus x plus 8 equals 90 degrees. Alright, so combine some like terms. I get 8x plus 10 equals 90. Minus 10 from both sides. 8x equals 80. And x equals 10. Now be careful because that's not your final answer. Ask for the measure of angle DCE. Remember, DCE is 7x plus 2. So 7 times 10 plus 2, plugging that in for x. So 70 plus 2 is 72 degrees. Okay. All right, let's go to the next page, number 13. All right, next one, we also have some labeling to do. It says angle DEG is 5x minus 4. GEF is 7x minus 8. And DEH is 9y plus 5. All right, so first thing I noticed is I have two things with x's and only one thing with y. So I'm going to go ahead and deal with the x stuff first. Now, both of these angles I notice form a straight line, and I know straight lines add up to 180 degrees. So therefore, to set this up, I have 5x minus 4 plus 7x minus 8 equals 180 degrees because those form a straight line. Combine like terms. 12x minus 12 equals 180. Alright, so I'm going to add 12 to both sides, and I get 12x equals 192. Divide both sides by 12, and x equals 16. Alright, so that's your value of x, but you still have to go back and find your value of y. So what I would do is I would plug it into this guy up here because I know that these are vertical angles, so they'll be the same. So 7 times 16 minus 8. You can plug that in your calculator, and you should get 104 degrees. Okay, now, so if this one's up here is 104, that means this one's on the bottom is 104. So 9y plus 5 equals 104. Minus 5 from both sides. 9y equals 99. Divide both sides by 9. And y equals 11. So x equals 16 and y equals 11. Alright, next one, it says P and Q are supplementary angles. Remember, that means they add to 180 degrees. So 4x plus 1 plus 9x minus 3 equals 180. Alright, so again, I can combine some like terms. 13x minus 2 equals 180. Add 2 to both sides. 13x equals 182. And x will end up equaling 14. Now 14 is not going to be your final answer here because it asks for angle Q. So I have to go back and plug it back in. So 9 times 14 minus 3. So when you plug that in your calculator, you should get 123 degrees. All right, we got two more. It says J and K are complementary angles. So first thing I know about that is that means they add to 90. So I'm going to write that down. The measure of J is 18 less than the measure of K. Find the measure of both angles. So J equals 18 less than the measure of K. So K minus 18. All right, I know when I add these two together that they should add to 90. So J plus K equals 90. However, I know that I can rewrite J as K minus 18. These are the same thing because J equals K minus 18. So K minus 18 plus K equals 90 because K minus 18 is the same thing as J. All right, now I have something that I can solve because it's all with the same letter. So 2k minus 18 equals 90. Add 18. 2k equals 108, and therefore k equals 54 degrees. So one more thing we have to do, it says find the measure of both angles. So if j equals 54 minus 18, which is 36 degrees. All right, last one, number 19. It says MO bisects. So the word bisects means cuts in half. PMN. It says PMN, so the big angle is 74 degrees. And then it says OMN is 2x plus 7. Okay, there's a couple different ways you can approach this. So I know if the big angle is 74 degrees, half of it, I can take that 74 and divide it by 2, and I get 37. So that means both of these pieces should be 37 degrees because they're equal. The top part and the bottom part should both be 37. So then how do I set up my equation? 2x plus 7 equals 37. Minus 7 and x equals 15. Okay, so again, go back and try all the even questions. We did all the odds, and then check your work. But that's kind of the gist of finding angle measures. And that's all.